Welcome everyone to another CTC Software webinar. My name is Chris Berger, Director of Technical Services here at CTC, and today we are going to discuss the process of starting new projects in Revit and today we're going to utilize our Nexus CMS and various apps from the CTC BIM suites installs. So we got a lot to cover in a very short amount of time, so hopefully we can get through it all. Before we get going though, I want to encourage everyone to ask questions using the questions panel. I will be monitoring that as we go and will do my best to answer them in line. Anything I miss, I will make sure to pick up at the end. And if you are watching the recorded version on our YouTube channel, please use the comments section to ask your questions there. We monitor those as well, and we'll make sure that you get your answers. With that said, let's just get going. Now, CTC has been around for a long time trying to get apps to performance enhancing apps for our customers. And one of the major areas of focus has been project startup and how to make starting a new project easier and make it so that it does not take as much time. And we've got various tools to assist with that. And for those of you that have started projects before you could have an add-in in Revit, that process can take hours without much trouble at all, right? It could take you a fair amount of time to build out all your floor plans, duplicate views, assign browser sorting and naming things accordingly, building out the levels, linking up your models for the MEP and structural trades, setting up copy monitor, and all this sorts of stuff. So today we're going to go through a handful of apps from our CTC product line and show you how we can do a majority of the project startup stuff and within an hour, and at least with some specific examples, obviously. It's not everything, but it's a dang good start. So today we are going to update a few items here. So I'm over here. Apparently I didn't update my slide here. We are going to use the Nexus CMS to help us start a new project. I've got, and for those of you who don't know, it's Hive, obviously. But our Nexus CMS content management system used to be Hive. Then we're going to create a bunch of new levels and plans and dependent views using View Creator. We're going to set up a bunch of new sheets using Spreadsheet Link. We're going to go ahead and use Sheet Assistant to help with laying the sheet layouts and a couple of things that aren't on here, some bonus content. We're going to show you how to batch load in a bunch of content from a couple of different apps and reloading of links and such. So there's a lot going on today. And really the only way I can show you how to do it is just to do the demo. So that's what we're going to do. All right, so in Revit, I'm not even starting with anything. I'm just on the splash screen. I've got Revit open. You can have Revit 21 through 2025 open at this point. Our CMS supports all. Our tools will support all of those versions, at least the latest version of our tools. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use our content management system to take my template and start a new project with my template. Now, when I say template, I mean I'm using what we call a starter project. So it's a Revit file. It has work sets and work sharing enabled, and it's got a few things kind of pre-defined in it. So what I've got here is a little quick, like a saved search to bring up my Revit version, or my starter projects in this case, or my quote unquote templates. I could have always just typed in the search bar up here and said starter project or template or what, depending on what you're calling your files. Search for it, just like you would search for just about anything else. And then I'm going to go ahead and double click this. It's going to prompt me to how I want to open the file. I'm going to do the standard detach and preserve work sets in this case. I don't have to. I could just go ahead and continue opening it as I would normally, and then I'll be prompted to do a save as after the fact anyway, because it likely won't be able to resolve the host. So you're better off just doing your detach right out of the gate. So I'm just going to hit open, let it go, and then we'll turn around and do the save as on the back end and build everything out. So while that's opening, I'm going to explain my starting point a little bit. So because I have a bunch of extra tools in the BIM project suite and manager suite and badge suite, and I have my Nexus CMS, I'm a big fan of bare bones template, just the bare minimum to get you started. Standard view templates and text styles, dimension styles, maybe some of your standard tags that are used, a couple title blocks, and keep it as minimal as you possibly can. And the reason why I do it that way is because I can load in what I need when I need it really easily and really quickly, from batch loading a list of sheets based off the customer that I'm working for, or if I'm a mechanical designer, I can load up a sheet list based on what my architect's using. If we're working for a government entity and they have a very explicit sheet set that they want to follow, we can have that pre-built. So depending on the job types, there's a lot of potentially some moving parts here, a lot of different options to choose from. I like making those options available and having my users load in when they need it, instead of expecting everyone to delete what they don't need. My experience shows that no one deletes, or not, I shouldn't say no one. People are less likely to delete stuff if they don't need it, unless it's getting in the way. So at any rate, so I got my project, it's here. I'm gonna save it real quick to somewhere. We'll just put it here for now. There we go. And it's already done Make Central after save. All my template settings are in place, so I'm just good to go. Now, at this point, I've got some options on the next steps. I can start creating out my levels and my views. I can start loading content in. I can build out a list of sheets. There's some you can do kind of whatever you want. I'm going to go ahead and start building out a bunch of views. So first thing I want to do is build a scope box. Now I'm going to use View Creator. Oops, I wrong tab. View Creator, and View Creator is specifically looking for, well, I guess it's not specific, but it utilizes scope boxes to help build out your floor plans. So my template doesn't have any built in, so I get the joy of doing that myself. You could save yourself a step or two just by having a few in place already. There we go. I forgot to hit 0, enter. Area A, do that. Copy, paste, 0, enter. Area B, good. So now I've got my 3 that I need for this. Okay. I'm gonna open up View Creator. So we're gonna do a couple of different things here in View Creator. I'm gonna create a couple of new levels, and then we're gonna build out some plane and ceiling plans and a couple of dependent views. So on this very first tab, it's listing all the levels that are currently stored in my template. I've got a handful to work with, but I'm doing a 4-story project this time around, so I need to inject 2 levels in between second and roof. So I'm gonna go ahead and use my batch add levels here, and I can do just that. I can tell it to insert after the second level with a 14-foot default spacing, type in the levels exactly how I want them to be shown in my elevations, 4th level, and then I'm gonna have this rearrange box checked, which will force the roof and parapet levels up to new elevations when I click OK. So when I do that, I now get 3rd level, 4th level, each 14-foot away from the previous level, which is great. And then the roof and the parapet got pushed up accordingly. So I'm going to go ahead and hit create. It's now built up my next 2 levels in my browser there. And actually, you can't see that, so I'll just close out and show you real quick. It's not too bad. Open up my elevation. It added 3rd and 4th. Now it's not lined up because things always are different in templates and whatnot. So just put that back in place and fire up View Creator again. And now I'm gonna switch to the Plan Ceiling tab and start building up my floor plans and such. So the way this tab works is we get to choose 4 different pieces of criteria to help lay out all the plan views in my project. I've got the level that's used. I've got the view template that I want to associate, and we have scope boxes and the face. Those are all pretty common in setting up a plan of sorts, but floor plan, a ceiling plan, area plan, right? Level, template, scope box potentially, and the face. So in this case, I've got nothing. All I have is my singular site plan. So I have 0 plan views in place. So I'm gonna grab all of these, lower level, main, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and my roof plan. Make sure I've got an abbreviation defined because I like having mine sequentially ordered because then I can name the level whatever I want. But I know for certain that 0, 0 is always gonna be the lowest level, 0, 4 or whatever is always gonna be the highest. And to be perfectly honest, I don't call that RO. I always make that the highest number. That's just how I personally prefer to do it. And this is just an abbreviation that'll get used in lieu of the name itself. The view template is next. So what types of views do I need to create? I want code plans. I want my enlarged plan, which gets used for my area plan. So I'm gonna pick this one. I need to dump out some stuff to CAD for the detailers. I need finished plans, my typical construction plans, presentation, working, and I'm sure the list goes on, but this is just strictly floor plans at this point. And all of these right out of the gate are just going to be associated to the overall scope box, right? I'm just doing my master plans in this case. And here I can utilize the scope box name if I want to, or add an abbreviation, or just say, you know what, I don't need that in the name at all. Check this no abbreviation box, and it'll use it in the setup, but not in the name setup. Same with the new construction piece over here. So I can just check this box. I don't need it to say new construction at the end. So maybe your existing views, if you're doing a remodel job, maybe existing has EXG in the name somewhere. So at this point, if I needed to rearrange anything around, I can go ahead and just change these drop downs and it'll flip the naming around for me. Automatically, it'll update the preview down here. And based off the order in which these are showing up is the order in which the names get put together. So as you can see, I get my level code first, which is the abbreviation. I get my view template code next, which is in this case the abbreviation being used. I said no abbreviations on the next 2 pieces, so then it just stops. If I change my mind, and maybe I do want it to say overall at the end, I can remove everything, uncheck that box, hit add, and now it's finished plan overall, floor plan master overall. You get the idea. So I'm just going to go ahead and create these as is. It's going to run through, generate the 42 plan views for me. And if you've ever built out floor plans from scratch, you're not going to build 42 floor plans that fast and get them all in the right spot. It's just and named accordingly. It's just not going to happen. So the next step here that I'm going to jump to is I can stay here. I'm going to switch to my ceiling plans and uncheck roof. We're going to switch these. I don't need these guys anymore for the ceiling plan, but I do want, did I delete my ceiling plan template? I sure did. So I guess I'll just choose that because it needs a template. And I'm going to do reflected ceiling overall. There. And I need them for everything, so I'm just gonna do a quick add here and create those. So now I've got my ceiling plans. If you need area plans or any additional structural plans, just set your view types and adjust your filters accordingly, right? And you're gonna go ahead and get what you need. Oh, I did have view templates in there, look at that. Well, let's go ahead and, well, I've got them, so it doesn't matter anymore. Now I'm gonna do my dependent views. So I need to break these out a bit. So I've got a bunch of, here's all the plans and ceiling plans I just got done making. I've got scope boxes for area A and area B defined. I need to duplicate as dependent, name things accordingly. Doing that manually, especially if the scales are different within your view templates like that, that's a multi-step process. Here, doesn't have to be. I can simply grab everything that I need and make it so. So I'm gonna sort by my view type real quick. I'm gonna do my ceiling plans here like this, not my elevations, not my site plan, but then I'm gonna do everything else, I think. And yeah, I'm just gonna do it all. So I can just press and drag all the way through until I get to the bottom, let go, and now I've got it set up to do it. When I hit create, it's gonna do it, and now it's done. So now, there you go, another 94 views generated. So we just made over 160 views, or I'm sorry, not that many, 130 views in a couple minutes. Not bad. We could continue to go on and build out additional 3D views and duplicate schedules if I had them based off the level of the phase. You can still do that after we get schedules loaded in. Next step really is to start getting sheets loaded. So here you have the option of adding individual sheets and specifying a title block and a sheet number and a sheet name. You can do them one at a time. Great. This is a great way to do it if you only needed 1 or 2 sheets. But maybe you're like me and you've only got these 3 and you need to create 150 sheets or however many, right? It doesn't matter. You can hit batch add, which will actually fire up Spreadsheet Link and give you the opportunity to build out a set of sheets, right? So it's already collected the sheets, name and number. At this point, I can grab any other parameter that I need to in this and add it to the list and come over here to do create new sheet, specify the number of sheets that you want to add, specify the title block that it needs to be associated with, create them, and start filling it out. And because this is Excel-like window, you can, give yourself a starting point. So I'm going to copy paste this down just to have something and press and drag. It'll renumber things for you accordingly, right? I can label this A100 and do the same thing, keep on going. And then let's go down to here and we'll go A200 and so on and so forth. You just go until you don't need any more, right? Oh yeah, so then we'll do A300 and so on. And then when you're happy, then you can go ahead and start doing the names, right? Do this, if, and this is what, cover sheet. Whoop. Cover sheet, notes, abbreviations, code sheet, code plans, and you get the idea, right? Code plan lower than man and up. But at this point, so I'm just going to go ahead and drag this on just so that I have a set. So I did add 150, but that's okay. At this rate, though, you just go ahead and fill out the spreadsheet that you need. When you're done, the object, all you have to do here is hit apply. apply the active worksheet, it's going to go ahead and build out all those sheets in your project. That's one way. And that's if you don't have a setup already done. Maybe you do have a setup already done and you've saved a spreadsheet. You can go ahead and open it right now and load that in instead. Yeah, here it is. And you can have your sheet list predefined. So you can repurpose the ones that were already there and then add a whole bunch of new ones and give it the number, the name. If you're using the sort order, organize them accordingly, and then hit apply. And what's going to happen now at this point is all of the new sheets are going to get added to my model. So it was created 50 of them, modified 2 extras, and left 1 of them untouched. Excellent. Done. So I can create sheet setups for specific customers, for specific architects, if we're the structural or MEP firm, various different job types. The list, there's various reasons. Do all that. But now I've got my sheet list. It's populated over here, and I'll show you that in a second. And now I can go back and make sure that we're good to go. So here I can go ahead and choose the appropriate title blocks now at this point if I need to, because I just loaded the spreadsheet in. And I can override that if I wanted to use a different one. So I'm just going to go ahead and check the box for all these and call it a day. All right, so that takes it. That's all we need for View Creator at this point. And here's my sheet list, as you can see. So now, again, there's a bunch of other things I can do at this point. I think what we're going to do right now is get my links loaded in accordingly. So I'm going to go to Import and Link Manager now and reload my links. Now, if you are the architect, this may not be a process you need to do yet. Maybe this is something you do a couple weeks from now or months from now, depending on the stage of the project. But if you're mechanical, structural, electrical, plumbing, like we don't typically start much work until we have a background to link in. So at this point, you would open up Import Link Manager and reload your Revit links or CAD links for that matter. If you've got some preloaded in, that's fine too. So I got a couple. So I'm just going to go a quick reload and specify the file I want. So we're going to do a reload from file. And gosh, I need to update my template so it doesn't keep telling me that I've got bad file paths. So that's my structural file. We'll grab that. And because I'm using placeholders, I have to do the reload from file to get the right file in. If I was just reloading to another placeholder, then you could do the reload from folder. If your project is being saved up to BIM 360 or is already up there, you can swap reload your files from your BIM 360 ACC projects as well, so that you don't have to do it again after the fact. What did I grab? Mechanical. I'll grab my MP file. And then I'm just going to quickly reload my electrical and call it a day. And there you go. And that's what you could also technically do this through a right-click option without even having Revit open. We have the Manage Links option within your right-click menu if you've got the CTC BIM suites installed. All right, just wanted to mention that just in case maybe this step got forgotten and then you remembered it and don't feel like opening Revit again, because I've done it. All right. Now, at this point, maybe you've got additional placeholders that you're no longer going to be using on this particular project, so go ahead and remove them. You can also make sure that they're placed on the right work sets if they're not, right? So I've got appropriate work sets set up for my linked models, so I don't have to worry about changing them, but things happen. So you could change work sets here if you needed to, or make them room bounding if they needed to be. So, all right, that's Import Link Manager. The next step could be Oh, my scope boxes don't line up at all. I should have waited to load those in until I actually had something here. So I'm gonna do this real quick. I'm just gonna shimmy these down here just a titch. Better. Okay. And that'll just help me later on with my sheet layouts. Actually, let's just go ahead and do that. Now, as things happen, right? You know, and you guys have all done this. I got to lay out a sheet, whether you've started drawing anything or not. Like sheet layouts got to happen. Oh, this is my standard title block too. That's why it looks funny. All right, well, we'll just change it to this. I was wondering why that was wrong. So now you know how the job works. Go to your sheet, you lay out your floor plans, you place one on the sheet, you do your overalls or your presentation, you know, whatever the case may be. It takes a long time to lay out a sheet, to put the views on it. Oh, well, and put your schedules and do all the things. And oh, I don't even have my schedules loaded in yet. I'm not going to set my sheets up yet. I was going to step into Sheet Assistant, but you know what? I think I want more information. I might load it in first. So we're going to go back to CMS. And maybe I've got content that I need to start drawing on my project, or there's other supporting documentation that I need first. And maybe you just know that because of the type of project that it is, right? Maybe I know I need a bunch of schedules. I need a furniture schedule. I need a door schedule. I need a equipment schedule. I've got a saved search to pull up just my schedules, go find them, double click them, load them in, get things going. You know, and maybe you've got schedules for specific needs, like with MEP, you've got your terminal schedule, you've got your fixture schedule, you know, equipment or panel schedules. Well, I guess panel schedules maybe not so much, but just go find what you need and bring it in. If there's a sheet of details, you can go ahead and load in the entire sheet of details, or the entire sheet of schedules for that matter, or a combination of both, and just kind of keep going with it. I need to pin this so I don't have to keep going back and forth. I'm gonna go find my sheet index here real quick. There it is. And I need my room occupancy schedules and keys first, and then I'll be done with this. And just keep double clicking. And these things will highlight a particular color so that you don't forget that you've already loaded into your project. So it helps kind of remind you of what's already being used. Unless you needed to duplicate it, you could, but you don't necessarily have to do that. All right. So now I've got a few things copied in. Not everything has any information in it, and that's fine. I haven't drawn anything yet. But now I can go ahead and start putting together some sheets. And that's using Sheet Assistant. So you have a couple of options when it comes to using this particular app. You could manually place all the views onto a sheet and just make sure that they're on the sheet. Doesn't matter where on the sheet. You can use Sheet Assistant to help clean up the package and make sure that things are consistently laid out. And maybe and you could do that based off an active view in your project or a configuration that you load in. You could also use this to just create new sheets. I mean, there's a couple of different things you can do here with this. I am going to, I've got my configuration preloaded, but to do that, I just hit load and you go find it. I've got a handful preset already. Sheet Assistant. I used this one. So I've got a floor plan and a schedule in my particular configuration, but you can use more than just that, right? I could throw a couple of details on here because I've got the space. I've got room for general notes. I've got room for maybe another schedule or two, or a wall types legend, or a fire rating, legend. Like there's room for more information here. So I could have had, 7 different windows on this sheet to align to right now. But in this case, I'm happy with this. It's early stages. I don't have a whole lot. You can always come back and update your sheets based off a different configuration that, is aligning or utilizing more information. So in this case, we're looking for a floor plan and a schedule, and it will highlight and tell you what it is. And it's going to anchor them in the bottom left and the top right of my sheets. And now I just get to go ahead and set it up, right? So I am going to go ahead and we'll just do a reset because it was still loading in my stuff from last time, which it shouldn't have, but it did. So I probably forgot to do the reset last time. So here's my config, bottom left, top right, floor plan schedule. Over here, I'm going to pick the sheets that I want to add stuff to. So lower level, main, second, third, fourth, and roof for now. And what you do is, hit the plus sign to expand everything by default so that you know what you're working with here. And for the floor plan on A100, I've already got that one placed. So I'm just going to skip it. I'm happy. For the schedule, I'm going to go ahead and choose that from my list because I've loaded a couple in now. I'm going to grab my door schedule for that. And then we're done here. So I'm going to collapse this. 101, same thing, except this time I'm going to pick a floor plan and continue on. So you can do this and I'm just going to go ahead and grab my overall plans in this case. So the scale, well, no, I shouldn't do that. I take that back. I'm going to grab area A because I am using those dependents. I don't want to get ahead of myself and switch up views when I shouldn't have to be. And we'll grab that door schedule. And then, so you just kind of keep going. So now I'm on sheet 102. So we'll grab the area A for level 2. Just kind of work your way on down the list. I'm going to minimize this so it's easier to see. And I'm not going to do all 5 sheets. So I'm actually going to take a couple off this list just so you guys don't have to sit here and watch me do this for a couple more minutes. So we're going to do those 3. And I'm going to get rid of the last 3. So to get rid of them, you just make sure they're not selected. And so it's only going to focus on these 3 sheets. So now you hit apply. So it's going to go through the model, find those views, put them on those sheets. And you can see the browser's already updated. And it didn't hold my setups here. So I have to go ahead and we're going to switch out my title block here. Thankfully, I can do all this without looking. So we'll grab my title block, make sure it's the right title block like last time. And yeah, and this is what I get for using smaller title blocks here too. I'm also using the wrong size. So, and I think I used the wrong template because these are at 1/4 inch for some reason. So the anchor points are looking good though. So yeah, I can tell it's the wrong title block because my schedule's wrong. I needed my oversized sheet. Do I have one? I don't think I have one. I think these are all the same. Anyway, that's what I get for not paying attention to the starter project that I've chosen for today. But now at this point, so I can do that for everything. Or like I had mentioned, if you prefer, and some people do prefer this, instead of doing the manual or the automated placement like that and having to deal with those drop downs, you can just go to your sheet, place the view that you want on the sheet. Well, let's do this. I'm going to switch all these out first for something else. Now I can grab a view, put it on the sheet, and grab a schedule, and you can put it anywhere on the sheet. Grab your schedule, put that somewhere on the sheet, And then you go back into Sheet Assistant. And with a target view set, whether it's a configuration that you've defined on the sheet of your choosing, select all and apply it, and it will shift everything around to the right positioning based off what you've told it to do. So you don't have to, it's really all depends. And maybe you don't run the Sheet Assistant right out of the gate. You run it later on down the road before you do a print day. That's okay too. So next in line is getting the rest of my content in, right? This is kind of the final piece, and this can happen at various stages. But I like working with a light file to begin with, so I can do a couple of things to provide my design teams a good starting point. Couple of different apps you can do for this. The first one is that I'm going to show you real quick is Family Loader. And the reason why I want to show Family Loader is because it has the ability to batch load content based off a settings file. Now, before I do this though, I'm going to do a quick save just to make sure we're good to go here. And I'm actually going to close this. You don't have to because it's a work shared project. And actually, I'm going to close it and then just turn around right away and reopen it, just so we have something in here for the CMS part next. But I effectively could just start loading content in for teams to work with here. And Family Loader allows me to set that up. Now, in Family Loader has the ability to batch load content either into a collection of projects or a specific project or the current project if the content already exists. And so or if it's a project hosted on BIM 360, we could post a bunch of content to that project up there. There's a number of different things you can go ahead and do with this at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and add the project that that we just have, that we're just working on. Of course, I don't remember where I saved it now. So I'm going to find too many places to save. Okay, so I just saved it to my demo folder. All right, let's try that again. Not exporter, Chris. Family Loader, slow down. And we're going to add the host project from my C drive because that's where I put it. So in my demo folder, no, see, here we go again. All right, I wasn't paying attention. Guys, I really need to, maybe I need more coffee. Oh, I just put it right in the demo folder, of course. All right, last time. Add host, demo folder. Okay, here it is. Add the selected project, and I can add more than that if I want to. So this is the project file we're going to load it into. Now I can add the content. There's a couple of different ways to do this. Again, you can manually build out your list of content. Okay, go browse for something on your network, go find a collection of content, and you can either pick the entire library if you want at this point, or you can, see, I've got a sample library here to choose from quick, and search in the subfolder to get them all and just start grabbing stuff, right? Select it, add selected. Now, doing that on every single project, that's a lot of time. It takes a lot of time to do that repeatedly over and over again. So you can, and that's totally fine. And it will batch load that stuff into any and all projects that you specify up here above. But you can also save this as a list to a text file. So if I hit open on this, I have a couple already loaded up, and based off the type of project that I'm working on. So what office project, healthcare project, residential, commercial, higher ed, lower ed, like you name it. You can, content collections per project type is a thing. So I can grab my office content, and now I can only reload that already exist, or nope, we're going to load all this stuff in. And so that's why I was very selective as to what I'm loading in, right? I've got a selection of stuff. We're just going to put that in. You wouldn't load your entire library in, because that kind of defeats the purpose of doing this, right? Now I can create new locals for my central file to go through this process. So it's not actually opening the central, which means you can do this while people are actively working in the model. Now we've got my overwrite dialog boxes. I can sync my work shared files and close them. I can also automatically create backups if you want to make sure that nothing gets messed up. That's okay too. And then you just hit load content, and it's going to open the project file up in the background, load the collection of families in, sync it, close it, and then anyone else on your project team, they just need to do a quick reload latest or sync to central, and they will get those families. So it's a slick way to go ahead about and quickly load content into a project or multiple projects. Maybe you started 5 projects today, and they all need the same collection of families. You can load all 5 projects in here, load up your text file, and push the families into all 5 projects at the same time with one free tool and family loader. Pretty slick. Option 2, and this is more of a continuing effort with option 2, is to utilize a CMS, right? Our CMS will give you the ability to load in content as needed, right? So it's a great for your end users to get started with, but it's also a great way for you to help populate the projects before they even get their hands on it. So I'm going to fire up my CMS again one more time, and a couple of different ways to go about doing this. Maybe I need to load in some more details still. Maybe there's a series of wall types that we need to get loaded in for them, right? You can set up a saved search for those things so it's easy to track down. Here's my list of standard wall types, and now I can start grabbing these and loading them into my project, right? So depending on what I need, I can hold down control, grab a handful of these items, and right click load. They're now getting, all of those are going to get loaded into my project. Then I can switch over to my doors, do the same thing. Select the families that I need, load them on my project. Pull up my details, and if there's a sheet of details that you need to load in, load that whole sheet in. Maybe there's only a handful of details from that sheet, just load those handful in. There's some flexibility here, and you can just kind of do what you need to do to set your team off on the right path without overloading the project files full of a ton of stuff. And then once you feel like you've gotten the file set up to a starting point, tell the team, let them have at it. And if they have CMS as well, they can go find the additional content that they need to further the designs. So, alrighty. And that takes care of it. So we've set up a project, started a new project, saved it, built out 130 some views, loaded in a handful of schedules, built out 50 some odd sheets, I think is what I did. Yeah. And loaded in some additional content, reloaded the links in 44 minutes. Not bad. Not bad. Now, again, there's more, and you could have more here to further that, additional view templates, additional styles to load in. There's more here within, as far as pulling information out of the CMS if you needed it, right? Based off the categories and the content that's here, right? So the more that you load here, the more flexibility that you have to populate the projects prior to unleashing the end users on it without overloading stuff. So I just wanted to mention that. Alrighty then. I think that covers everything. So I am going to minimize that and call it a day. that just about covers everything. I want to thank you all for joining me today, and we look forward to seeing you at the next webinar. Thank you.